current House, I should say, Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy is warning House Republicans, get in line and support his bid for Speaker or expect disaster. Watch.
Having a challenge on the floor is never going to be positive, and really you turn the floor over to the Democrats when you do that. This is very fragile that we're the only stopgap for this Biden administration. And if we don't do this right, the Democrats can take the majority. If we play games on the floor, the Democrats can end up picking who the Speaker is. We need to do this for the American people. We either are successful together or we will fail individually, and we will not be given the possibility or the opportunity to be in the majority again.
So at least 5 House Republicans say, as of now, they won't support McCarthy's leadership bid. So now what? What is next? So joining us now, CNN political analyst Jonathan Martin, senior political columnist at Politico. Good morning. So glad you could be here. It's good to see you in person. So let's talk. But this is about raw numbers, okay? Yeah. So McCarthy needs 218 votes. If every other lawmaker besides those 5 vote on party lines, he's 2 votes short. So is he really in danger here?
He's in real danger. Now, the good news for McCarthy is that today is December 1st, not January 1st. So he's got a little bit of time to work those members. Look, when you're the leader of a party in Congress, you have a lot of tools at your disposal, right? You can offer carrots and sticks. And for the next month, McCarthy's going to be doing a lot of that, trying to reel in just enough people with sort of various carrots, perhaps a couple sticks.
2 quick questions that are kind of combined.
Yeah.
If not McCarthy, who? Yep. And how is this different from Paul Ryan in 2015?
Well, the obvious backup would be Steve Scalise, who's the number 2 from Louisiana, Don's home state, who is somebody who's seen as sort of a mainstream conservative and isn't as despised, I guess, by the far right as McCarthy is in the House. And in terms of the Ryan question, this is part of the challenge the House GOP has. There's no sort of Paul Ryan waiting in the wings here who can step forward and be a sort of broadly popular and sort of a super impressive pick. It's no offense against Steve Scalise. He's perfectly capable, but he just doesn't have the sort of background that Paul Ryan had. Ryan had been on a national ticket in 2012, obviously, before he became Speaker of the House.
Well, I've been struck by the Republicans who have come out in support of Kevin McCarthy at this very difficult time. He's saying basically if we don't stay united, Democrats are going to end up picking who's our House Speaker because the margin is so dang slim.
Yeah, look, this doesn't happen in Congress, but it has happened in states over the years where you have a very tight legislature and there's some kind of a bipartisan deal to elect a compromise candidate. I think in a very polarized Washington, that's still pretty darn unlikely that you would see that kind of a pick emerge from the political center, if you will. I think it's more likely, Caitlin, that we'll see a Steve Scalise, a sort of conservative backup plan if McCarthy can't get there.
Could we talk about rail strike and the president? Yeah. So Amtrak Joe, right, and union guy, and someone who voted in favor of unions in a similar kerfuffle in '92. This is the president. Biden is now bucking the unions and saying it's just too economically devastating to let there be a strike. What is the big context here?
Christmas and not wanting to be a disaster.
Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the fact is that Biden's fear of a rail strike causing a massive economic disruption before the holidays is the biggest driver in this. And I think he just wants to get a deal done because he feels like the fallout from this could be devastating if there is not an agreement.
The real peril here, he believes, is he has more peril if there's a strike rather than if he upsets members of the
and what's striking about this is that Labor has been somewhat quiet about this. They're not out there sort of jamming Biden day in, day out, so he's got some latitude on this.
But the House is passing this. They've passed 2 separate provisions. One is this agreement, one that they had in September. One is for the sick pay leave, which is what has been really at the center of this. Is the Senate going to pass that?
That seems less likely, but because in the Senate you have to find 10 folks in the GOP to vote for that sick leave provision. It doesn't seem like today they're going to be able to find those votes.
So can you talk to us about Gavin Newsom?
I'd love to.
Okay, so you have reporting on this. You know, he has said, I'm not going to run. If you're going to run.
I spent election night in Sacramento with Governor Newsom, kind of embedded with him in the governor's mansion watching the returns. And it was fascinating because here's somebody who's a very ambitious person, mayor of San Francisco, lieutenant governor, now governor. He's won 3 elections in 5 years, guys, because he won the recall last year. And here he is in the biggest state in America, the 5th biggest economy in the world. And he's got sort of nowhere to go because, like a lot of Democrats, he's bumping up against an incumbent president who appears to be poised to run for re-election. So what Newsom told me is, look, I'm not going to challenge Biden, but that he has conveyed to the White House very directly, use me, send me out there. Send
As a
me,
surrogate?
Yeah, sort of a super surrogate to confront folks like Ron DeSantis and Greg Abbott in Texas, deploy me out there. And I think what he's getting at is that if Biden does run again in 2024, when he'll be almost 82 years old, that's going to be a Rose Garden campaign. And Biden's going to need people in the party to go out there on the trail, sort of doing that kind of work. And I think Newsom is basically saying, sign me up for that.
Oh, that's interesting. So he's basically saying he doesn't expect Biden to have this really aggressive campaign that he'll be doing.
I think that's the unspoken. But I happened to be there when Biden called him on the phone that night, and I heard Newsom's side of the conversation, total dumb luck happenstance, and he directly told Biden, he said, put me in, coach, I'm ready to go.
Great.
There you go.
Thanks,
Good
guys.
timing,
Appreciate it.
good reporter.
Dumb luck, dumb luck.
Lucky than good, right? Or
Absolutely.
both.
Both ends. Thanks, y'all.